All right, I'm on hole number 9 of the Glenmonarch nine-hole cup. Let's go check out hole number 9. Now, in my practice account, I came out here and I wasn't too concerned about the second shot. It was about making sure that the first shot was good. I think if you've got a lower level apocalypse, coming out here and trying to bounce over so that you can end up more out here. So I was pretty much where I normally am if I do the layup shot on the other side. I was right out in this area. And so when you're coming in with your big dog, you're going to have to apply a little bit of topspin, and it won't take much, maybe a couple, 1.5, to bounce it over and get it up to the green. The deal with this green is here's the green. If I can get my pen to work, here's the green. Here's your fringe. And then you have a fairway area, especially up on the upper part, when you go from about this point to this point around the loop. Your fairway area here is not even the width of the fringe. And so if you come in with a little bit too much speed, you're going to end up, you have a really good likelihood of ending up in the rough, because it can just blow right through that, and there's not much to go through. So it doesn't take a whole lot to get up there. And you can get this done with a 3 power ball, but once again, this is one of those holes that if you pop out a 4 power ball, it may not help you so much on the drive, but it can definitely help you down here. But if you really wanted to go for the deal, I checked out the red line stuff, and you could get over here with a berserker. And the thing about using a berserker here is that if you can get the ball forward in anything out here and stay out of the sand, you probably have a pretty decent shot of getting on no matter what, even if you were in the rough. So from right here to this area right here where my red line was, I was in my big dog, that's about 180 yards. So if we think about what our rough irons hit, if you're using a Nirvana, you're in the 120, 130 range, somewhere in that neighborhood. Or if you bring an Amazon's not going to work quite as well here, because Amazon works really good when you're in a spot where you can use backspin, because an Amazon has a lot of backspin, but it has really bad ball guide. And it's always nice when you have, here's 1 bounce, there's 1 ball guide, there's 2 ball guide, there's 3 ball guide. It's always nice when you have better than 3 so that you can see beyond that point. So when you have 2.5 and you're here, it's always better to have like 2 7s, so you're on the downward spiral, so you can see, kind of get a better idea of where it's going to land. I'm just thinking here, if you used an apocalypse on this, you had a lower level apocalypse, you could probably eke forward a little bit here, and with a Titan, you're making it better for yourself on this side. But if you're 180 here and this is 180, you probably have to be somewhere ahead of this area right here in order to be in the 120 range. So that would be 60, and let's see, there's a third. You'd probably have to be somewhere above this if you broke this into thirds. So if you were somewhere in front of this line or in front of this sand and you were in the rough, you could probably get on with a Nirvana. So it might be worth it. So if you end up here and you're in the fairway, you're in great position. If you end up here and you're in the rough, you're still in okay position. Where you would epic fail is if you encountered this sand. But it did look like, with an extra mile and an apocalypse, that I could get the ball up into this area. But let's see what my trajectory would be. So we're here, and we're in this right here. So I mean, we're going straight forward, right towards that sand. So I could get over right here with this kind of. The question is, can you cover that gap with side spin and curl? That's a question. I'm going to try it just so that we can see it. Let's try it. Let's see what we can do here. Let's burn a berserker here, and let's see if we can get up there. The other shot is a shot I want to see in this practice round today, if what these shots are, what's possible. So if it's possible, then it gives me the opportunity to think about it. Now the apocalypse is the question here. As far as distance wise, I'm losing 5 yards of distance, and I don't have as much topspin. That topspin on the extra mile. Okay, the curl here on the apocalypse may put me so that when I hit that shot, it's putting me more going in, you know, if my red line was down here and I overpowered it, it's gonna, that curl is gonna bring me more, allow me to come out here. Whereas with the extra mile and the topspin, if I can clear down here, it's gonna put me farther forward, so that if I do end up in a straighter trajectory like this, I may end up missing the sand just because it's going farther forward. Here with the Apocalypse, you're expecting that the curl is going to keep you out of trouble, and with the extra mile, it may be a case of staying out of trouble with the topspin. That's a question. When you get your Apocalypse, if you get a level 4 Apocalypse, then the distance thing's not as big a deal, and I would definitely use a level 4 Apocalypse. I'm going to stick with my extra mile because I think more of you are comfortable or have an extra mile. I've got that. And if I can get up into that area up in the front, I'm going to bring utility stuff. Stuff that can give me the best utility. I'm going to switch my wood to a sniper. And off we go. I know that if you bring a 4 power ball and you do the layup shot, go back in the first practice round I posted today in my 88 account. If you do that same exact shot with a level 4 ball, it's a pure layup. And you could bring an Apocalypse there and it will help you get a little bit farther forward. If you bring a 4 power ball, then you're going to have a really, really easy shot getting on the second one. There you go, Berserker. Question is, can I make that turn? So I'm going to go right at the red, right at the transition there. I'm going to put max stuff on it. All right. And I hit it great to the right, which takes a bunch of that curl out, but we should get a clean shot here to see how much forward distance we're getting. So where'd my ball end up? If I wouldn't have hit it great to the right, I probably would have ended up in the rough out here. So let's see what kind of distance we can get here if we end up in the rough. Because if you can go out there and hit just directly into that rough, even if you don't make the spin and you don't end up out here, if you can get out here, if you were guaranteed to get out in the rough out here and you could make that shot, I don't think I can make it. I don't think the Nirvana is big enough to make it from there. But I'll go back and look at where I bounced over on the other side, because I probably would have been better served to bring an Apocalypse just because of that curl. Our opponent's nicely. That's about the area that you'll normally end up in. You want to be as far to the left as possible. Let's see how short I am. You know, that might not be a bad deal. I'll tell you right now, this shot right here is going to be a lot easier than what our opponent's going to have to take from over there on the other side. And I got much better ball guide here. This might be, I might... There's one other hole in a tournament where I actually hit into the rough on purpose because I like that shot a lot better. So at max club, it's 2.0 per ring, so I'm going to do about a ring and a half. And then it's all about hitting perfect. Hitting it great to the left. And that's not bad. That seemed pretty easy there. I could have put on a little bit more topspin. I was a little hesitant on the topspin to try and dig myself up in there. Now they definitely brought the wrong club here, and they brought the wrong ball. So they achieved what they wanted on the first shot, but that's the deal. Is this isn't necessarily a hole where you're bringing a big ball for the first shot. You're bringing a big ball for the second shot. I think I can afford to make this putt. So this is definitely makeable. I'm going to miss this putt because I cannot afford, do not want to miss that. to make that. So that right there is probably one of the easiest eagles that I could have got on that hole just by hitting up there in the rough. But there is a big risk. You end up too short in the rough, but you know that's a possibility. I'll have to go back and look at the trajectory and see if I would have hit that perfect or great to the left, how bad that would have been, because with my Spitfire, I can hit just as far as I can with my Nirvana. So if I would have ended up in the sand out there, you know, kind of where that would have put me. I'm going to go ahead and forfeit now that they are in their birdie range. I didn't want to give them an eagle. They didn't. If they would have been where they could have got an eagle themselves, then yes, but I'm not going to give somebody an eagle. All right. That was the qualifying round for the 9-hole cup, just a practice round there. So I'll have to go back and really watch that video to see where I was at. I was in this second cut of rough. And let's look at my distances for my clubs. I believe it's like 129 with a Nirvana. 129. Let's see where I'm at with my sand wedge. I believe it's 120. So a little bit less, but I got a ton of topspin with the Spitfire. So the Spitfire can make up that little bit of distance. But I had lots of, I didn't even use all the topspin I had available to me with the Nirvana. So that, you know, if you're looking for an easier eagle and you're having a hard time, you know, I'm not saying that's a good option, but that might be an option. I'll have to explore that a little bit more and really watch that video and see what the deal is on it, because I can tell you if you do the layup shot on the other side, even if you bring a 4-power ball, it's a tough shot with your big dog to get onto the green and stick it up there. So if we can do anything to make that easier, even if it's hitting it with the Nirvana, I mean, my shot of getting it into the hole there is pretty grim, but I'm not trying to get on the hole. I'm trying to get an eagle. So go back and look at that and laugh at me and see what the deal is, but that is an option. All right, that was hole number 9 of the 9-hole cup. Thanks for watching.